Welcome back to FastGadgets. So today we have an unboxing of a sort. I've actually already opened this, but we're going to have a good look at it. So I've got the Neewer NW3D2 detachable wired control gimbal. I will not be using the wired element for this video, but I wanted to show you the gimbal, what I've got. And I particularly was interested in this unit because it has an attachment for a GoPro camera as well as for a standard camera, so we're going to get into that. Not quite sure how this works yet. I guess that's something I've got to figure out. I'm pretty sure that's what that particular attachment is for, so I'm not 100% sure how it works, but that's one thing I am going to figure out. Now what I have done, if you take the unit out, this is exactly how it came. I had the box here and it was already unsealed, so there's no seal on the box, so don't be shocked if that happens to you. It has a beautiful case that comes with it, and it also has links here so that you can put on a shoulder strap, but initially anyway I did not see a shoulder strap. Single zipper around the case, and I'm going to go ahead and unzip that now. And inside the case, I'm going to go through the top section here first. Let me point this down just a little bit so you can get everything in. We have a power cable, so we do not have a power adapter, so you have to supply your own adapter. It actually does come with a very nice shoulder strap, although it looks a little short, and it is slightly adjustable. So probably could adjust this to fit my size. And some paperwork here with the warranty on the gimbal. And we also have a very basic instruction manual, and I'm going to show that to you. One of the things that they don't bother to show really is how to attach the weights if you actually need the weight for your phone. Now I have found in most cases you probably will not need the weights, at least for the phone I'm using, and the one I'm going to use is my Galaxy Note 4 that I'm using to record right now. And I did not have a problem getting my Galaxy Note 4 to hook up. Everything was pretty straightforward. I didn't need the extra weight. These instructions here are the ones that are not that great, but after a few minutes I was able to follow it, and after about, I would say, 10 minutes I was able to get the gimbal to balance correctly. So it's not too bad. You just want to follow through the steps. I didn't experiment with portrait mode so far. Now, the unit has 3 modes, so we'll have a look at those. So we've got the default mode, and you can either do a single tap, or the first time you turn it on, you actually hold it down for 4 seconds, and you'll get a green light. And then what it does, it allows you to push the joystick left and right to adjust the yaw, and up and down for the pitch, which I really like. That one seemed most helpful to me. Mode 2 was good too. It lets you push the joystick left and right to adjust the roll, up and down for the tilt, just as before. And you notice they kind of look exactly the same, but the top one is adjusting for pan, and the second one, mode 2, is adjusting for roll. And then mode 3, you push the joystick left and right to adjust the roll only. So the one that I was using most was mode 2. It seemed to be what I wanted it to do, and I'm really quite impressed by it. So let's have a look at the unit itself. Now you do get a battery charger, so it's interesting how this works. You can actually put in 1 battery or 2, and same here, this piece here will spring out and it'll open up so that you can get the entire set of batteries, and you do get 2 sets of batteries. This unit that I bought, they came pre-charged, so that was nice. I didn't actually have to charge the batteries. The charger will light green when your batteries are fully charged, or they'll be red when they're charging. Alright, so the gimbal itself is here, and it is kind of hard for me. My fingers don't really fit in here too awful well. This is the gimbal handle itself, so I'll just leave that up top there. Well, it fell right back in. This is the gimbal wire, so if you wanted to have a so-called remote from, like, say, a tripod, you could use the wire. Right now I don't know if I'll have a use for it, but I might in the future. We'll see how it goes. And here we have a mount for a GoPro camera. Now, I'm not really sure how exactly this piece mounts on yet. That's something I'm going to have to figure out in the future. But it is for a GoPro camera style, even though it doesn't quite fit my camera, so I don't know how well it'll work out. Now, I do have other mounts though, and I see that it's got a screw clip here, so I probably could use my actual mount for it without much of a problem. And again, this is the handle. Now, there is an extender. I don't think I will be needing it. I believe also this lets you use higher capacity batteries, but the voltage does have to be the same. It looks like there's oil in the grooves a little bit there. So watch out for that. You don't want to get it on your camera lenses. But this unit can connect, might be right here. Yeah, it is. So you take the cap off for the batteries, and then you can extend the length of your batteries, which I think is nice. Okay, so the unit does come with a couple of different mounts for smartphones. So this one is for smaller smartphones, so it would fit this one pretty well. And I just pull gently, and I can clip the smartphone in. Now, it's already mounted when you get it, and you have to be a little bit careful. You don't want to damage the motors on these, so when you're handling it, you want to make sure it's off while you're balancing everything. So there's a default mount here. I don't know if this would fit. Yeah, it would. So the default one here would work either way. Now I've got this phone here is charging, but it basically goes in like this, and you can see that the camera would be hanging off the back there. I'll use this Kyocera phone here as a sample, even though it doesn't have sufficient charge, but we won't worry about that. So the unit actually goes in like this, and we just gently pull up, and we lock the phone in place, or at least it should. Now, I want to point out that with some smartphones it's not going to work as well, so it looks like this smartphone might be a little bit thick on the bottom there, and that does cause some problems with grip. However, it's pretty, in my opinion, it holds it quite well, and it keeps it level all the time. With my Galaxy Note 4, I have noticed that I can't have my case on, and it's because it makes the back too large. Okay, so on the bottom here, there are some retaining, well, actually these are power pins and movement, and you can see that it matches on the handle as well. And then here you can see a small lock and open. So just make sure it's on open, and you want to line these two up. So pin out to pin out. It's like a bayonet style. If anybody's had cameras, you know what I'm talking about. And then give it a good push on, and then lock it in place firmly. And you can see that I was experimenting with the weight. So there's 3 axes that we can adjust here, and with this particular unit I was adjusting it for my other smartphones. So the first adjustment they want you to make is the one where we make sure that it's balanced flat. So let me move the camera down here. What they tell you to do is to put it down face first like this, and then pick it up, and you can see that the unit wants to tip forward. But I think our biggest balance issue is actually the weight here. So what we can do, all you have to do is just slide the phone out a little bit, and we'll see if we can get, yeah, I think I'd be better off with the smaller clamp. This phone really doesn't hold in there very well. Now, if you cannot get the phone to balance because the weight on this end is too large, you can put a weight here on the back and it will make your phone balance perfectly. So we can make the phone balance. So our ultimate goal is to get the phone to balance like this. And I really don't want to change the settings too much because I've got it set up for my smartphone right now. So I'm going to wait. I'm not actually going to make the changes. Now, to change it so that this axis is level, you use this screw here and you slide this unit in and out. So you can see it's falling forward. So I can loosen this screw, and if I push it in and then tighten the screw, it's hard to see because right now it's not really level because of the way the phone is. Let's see if I move the phone out, if we can get it to level out. Well, a little bit, but we would need that. There we go. We would really need the weight. So I'm going to unscrew this and push this in a little bit further. Eventually you see it kind of flip up like that, and you know you're close and you want it, and it's just fractions of a millimeter, if you can imagine. Now, of course, you can see how the phone is hanging off on the end there. This would definitely not be a good situation, so more than likely I would use one of the weights that comes with the unit. So you have a small weight and a large weight, and we know we need weight on this side, right? So if I spin it around, we can actually attach the weight right there. Hopefully you can see that. So there is a clamp there that I could attach the weight, and that would make the balance much greater. Okay, so I've got the unit in there now, and it's actually, the balance is pretty good. This is my second time doing it, so it took a lot longer. So I'm going to press and hold the power button, and when I see the power button blinking, then I can press and hold the mode button 4 seconds, and you can see it kind of woke up there. So now I have my gimbal settings. So if I go up, I can tilt it down, I can level it out, I can go to the right, and maybe get it a little bit more, and left, and let's see if we can get that leveled. It really doesn't matter if it's leveled that way necessarily, because it all depends on what you're shooting, really, if you think about it. So what I'm going to do is switch over to my imitation GoPro here, and I'm going to show you footage before using the gimbal and after. So just before we go though, 2 more modes. So if I press 2 times and I get the red light, I now have the other mode. Let me go to the manual, which is mode 2, which means if I push the joystick left and right, it'll adjust the roll. Everybody hopefully can see that. So now I'm adjusting the roll, and I can get it closer to level. And then up and down still does the pitch. Then if I press the button 3 times, I should get a blue light. 1, 2, 3. And now I have a blue light on the unit. I don't know if you can see that with the sun in here. It's not really bright. Just so you know, the blue light is not very bright. And to get that, I did a triple tap. And now the only thing I can adjust is the roll, left or right. So it's now locked as far as the pitch is concerned. Okay, now the mode that I was leaving it on most of all, let's see if I can get it to do it, was mode 2. So left and right to adjust the roll. up and down to adjust the pitch. But the default mode, see here, is green. So now once again I'm doing the yaw or pan, up and down to adjust the pitch, and left and right for panning. Okay, let's get it out on the street and test it out. Alright, let's close out the video with a couple of shots. This first shot here is with my smartphone, my Samsung Galaxy Note 4, and keep in mind for this shot it is not with the gimbal, so I wanted you to see what a shot looked like without the gimbal first. So you can see how shaky it is. It's really quite bad. This next shot I'm going down the stairs with the gimbal with my Galaxy Note 4 smartphone, and you can see a much better and more smoother shot than before. Now this next shot coming up, I did 2 takes, one with my smartphone without the gimbal and one with my smartphone with the gimbal, and I decided to circle a tree. Now the shadowing is a little bit different and the distance is slightly different, but it should give you a pretty good idea of how much the gimbal actually does make the shot much more level and bump free. You can see in this shot without the gimbal it's very difficult to keep the camera stable and the ground is very uneven, and the gimbal does an excellent job of actually managing all those different bumps and movements and levels it out very nicely. Here I'm experimenting with the gimbal's control button, which lets me pan left and right and tilt up and down. So I'm also moving my hand with the gimbal. This shot here is me walking, and this is without the gimbal once again. So it's just me holding my GoPro, generic GoPro-like Akaso camera. And this shot, of course, is with the gimbal, and you can see once again what a huge difference it actually makes. The last shot here, I'm walking back up the road, and I just wanted you to see kind of side by side without the gimbal and with the gimbal, and what an incredible difference it actually makes. Now, a couple of notes with this particular device. It is a precision instrument and therefore very sensitive, so you do have to be careful with it and be gentle. Never try to force anything, and absolutely do not try to manipulate or change the controls on your camera while the gimbal is on. Make sure you turn the gimbal off first, because you could burn out one of the motors. And secondly, if you need to set up the level of your camera or your smartphone, make absolutely sure that the gimbal is powered off, or you could burn out one of the axis motors. I want to thank you for watching, and if you found the video useful, please like and subscribe. If you really found it useful, consider sharing, and it's always good to hear your comments, so please leave comments, even if they're, well, I won't say negative, but constructive. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time on Fast Gadgets.